got to see Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry combination with the guy you guys know well, and Todd Monken. We all know, and listen, Todd's great. We know how good he is. But how is he going to blend this offense? How is he going to blend a guy that's 240 that needs to run downhill underneath center, get the ball A-gap to A-gap, and mesh it with a guy that has to be in the gun, in my opinion, in Lamar Jackson? How are they going to do those two things and blend it? And then give me what you would do if you were Todd Monken.
Yeah, first of all, if anybody can get it done, Todd can. Sharp guy. It's hard because Lamar's probably he is the NFL dual threat guy, right? He's got to be in space. He's got to be a guy that can move, get the ball out quick. Play the college RPO zone read type player, which you're exactly right. And then you got Derrick, who's like the Larry Zonka, right? Let's line up an I, because by the middle of the third quarter, your DBs and your linebackers are like, had enough of tackling this sumbitch.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I don't want to tackle this guy anymore. And it's tough because I've had over the last 10, 12 years, all the guys I've had, from Jonathan Franklin to Paul Perkins to JJ Johnson at Arizona, right? All those guys, these are all 1,500 yard guys or plus, right? And every one of them were little quick guys, guys with just tremendous suddenness. So I think Todd's got, I think if everybody get done, I think Todd can. But you got two dynamic guys, but one's like one's steak and one's fish.
Yeah. How do you blend it if you had to go replace Todd Monken today with that roster? How are you going to blend those two things? Because if we're going to get up and talk about mesh ride with a guy that's not used to sitting and waiting on a mesh read, right? And Lamar's reading the end or the 3 tech or whatever, and this guy 240 pounds who wants to eat, like you just said, he's waiting at the mesh or hesitant. How do we blend that with a guy who's not the greatest under center passer? His back to the defense is not great. Lamar is not. So how do you do that?
I think let's go back to Chris Alt in Nevada and Pistol, right? When they had Kaepernick, and you look at what they were, where they were the pistol with the eye. Yeah, I mean, even actually, I can remember even back Norvell used to do a lot of it, right? You got to play with tight end, right? Yeah. You got to have your tight end. You got to be attached. Okay. Yeah. You got to create the extra gap. Yeah. You got to create the extra gap on the defense. Okay. So, and then now, how do you develop the perimeter passing game? And the quick game off that is the stuff that could just get, you got to just get a little tricky. But I think that's where they got to live. That's the world they got to live in.
Josh, what did you see with Lamar and the Ravens going in against Mahomes that day one, game one, and what you saw with him and Derrick Henry?
Yeah, it's a tough one, to have to go into KC for anybody. First of all, it's like what Aaron Rodgers had to do.
Yeah, because Taylor Swift's there.
Yeah,
you got to play against Taylor Swift.
And you got the running back there for the first time, and you want to get him some touches. But I think Todd's got to stay as unpredictable as possible. I think Derrick Henry's always has been that 20 to 25 carries a game back. He might not get that amount of touches in this offense because they're so dynamic, and you got to get the ball out to the perimeter too, because you got some speed out there with Flowers and those guys. I think he's just got to, when they do run the ball, they got to be effective. They can't be, the running average per rush has got to be up from 2 to, up to around 4. And I think to stay kind of ahead of the down and distance, and then that lets Lamar do some frees him up on other downs where you don't hand the ball to Derrick Henry. So I think you got to limit his runs a little bit. They got to be better runs for the team, and then Lamar's going to have to make some throws that count when it matters, or matters when it counts. I think that's what Monken's going to have to figure out, and they're not far off. I mean, I know they were a toe away from tying that game and taking it to overtime on the road. So Baltimore's right there, and I know they're upset because they haven't been able to get over the hump, but they're not far. I think Derrick Henry's got to run run the ball 10 to 12 times, 10 to 15 times a game, and they got to be really, really nice runs for them, and then they got to spread the ball out. And
that sounds crazy, right? 10 to 15 times for Derrick Henry, because we know the dynamic with Lamar. We're like, he's going to run 10 to 15 times also. So, like, that to me, I thought it was the worst acquisition at running back you could possibly make if you're a Baltimore Raven. That's all I thought. I didn't think it meshed well at all. I just didn't think so. I thought Dallas made more sense than Cowboys or some other team where you can run play action off of Dak Prescott, turning his back to the defense, being a much better pure passer from under center. I just think Lamar struggles under center. I just don't think you can put a square peg into a round hole at this late in the game. No, I don't know if Noah and Josh, you both we played a position. How are you going to take a guy that's just not a guy at that, comfortable and turn him uncomfortable?
Yeah, he was the perfect fit at Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
You got just kind of got just a manager at quarterback. Make me a few throws. Let's turn around and hand it to this guy for a while. And I agree with you, JB. I agree. I thought that was like when that trade happened, I was like, wow, that's a little different. That's
Derrick's trying to win probably at this point in his career, and he just looked at the Ravens as a winning organization and wanted to go there, but it may not make the most sense from an actual playing style standpoint. Yeah. Before we transition real quick, I want to ask you guys, play the position. How do you guys feel about Lamar Jackson as a quarterback in general? We understand, that he's unique. He's not your typical, drop back, throw it around 35 times, air it out, picking the defense type of guy. But he's been a big time winner in how he plays. Do you guys feel like that he's capable of getting the Ravens to that big game, getting to a Super Bowl, or with his playing style, do you think it'll never happen?
I like his playing style. I like Michael Vick's playing style, but I do think if he gets behind in games, especially by more than one score, they have to throw the football and they got to go down the field moving the chains with his arm. They can't just line up and run when you're down in the fourth quarter late. And I think when that last 5 minutes of that game, if he's down a score or more, it's going to be very difficult for the Ravens to win. So they're going to really have to power through the first 3 quarters of a football game for him to be in a position to where they don't have to change their offense a whole lot and they can do what they always do. If they get behind or they turn the ball over or something happens, and that's why it's going to be so hard for him to win them all the way through to the end, is because that's going to happen sooner or later. One of the games you're going to be behind, and you're going to be behind 10 points or something, and you got to go down the field throwing the football. And if he's able to do that, he'll win. If he's not, he's not. And I think Monk is trying to get to that stage with him and try to coach him up, because he's a great quarterback coach too, not only just a great play caller, to get him in a position to complete balls at the end of the game. And he missed on a couple throws, and that hurt him in the KC game because they were down and had to go produce on offense through the air. And I think that's where the big question mark lies.
Fucking Noel, man, he's got me wanting to put a Cope in right now. I have a dip. I'll put some Copenhagen in. I used to put some Maker's Mark in there and put it in the refrigerator. Fuck, it was unbelievable. That's why. And then I spit on the referees, and they turned me in.
Hey, JB, be over here, put one in. We jump on this whiteboard back here and start talking some ball. Yeah. Huh?
Speaking of that, this is the last week that we'll be doing it like this, because from there on point on in the studio, we got DV Sport as a proud sponsor. We're the only one that allowed on YouTube to show college and NFL film without getting copyrighted. So we're going to get on the board like ESPN. And Bailey, can you switch the camera forward just to show real quick what it'll look like? No, I'll be up here on the board. This is a touch screen that you're about to see, and we'll be on the board right here writing it up. So I got whiteboard film, DV Sport, the Cowboys, we got it all.
You are getting to be big time, JB.
We're trying, man. We're trying.
He's real bougie, man. He's a bougie.
We're trying. We're gonna have the realest show on planet Earth. So look,
next thing you know, bro, is he's gonna start wearing his hat the right way, and he's really gonna. Then I'm really gonna start worrying about him.
Right here. You can solo me, Bailey, real quick.
So let's go back to Lamar. I just want to say one quick thing on Lamar. Here's still a guy that completes 65% of his. I love that. 65% of his passes, which is solid, right? I mean, in today's offenses, I can remember when in the old days, if you were a 55% completion guy, you were like a dude, right?
Yeah, you're big time.
Now, if you're a 55% completion guy, you're getting fired, okay, because of the styles of offense. But he's still at 65%, and I mean, he has them there almost every year. They're talked about as being, you know, in that group of 4 or 5 teams that could be in the Super Bowl, right? And to win it is so damn hard, right?
So
it takes a lot of other things have to fall just right, you know. So do I think he can get him there? Absolutely, I think he can get him there. But you know how Todd handles the Derrick and him. I mean, I think Todd will do a good job. He'll come up with something to get them going. But you got to have a great defense. You got to have all the other pieces to get there. So yeah, I think he's still in the conversation.